Hello and welcome to another Lord of the Rings Rise to War stream video. This is from my new season, playing as King Under the Mountain, which is my main account. As you'll see, I'm in the same server as Power and Home, so it's going to be quite an entertaining season, I think, as far as it goes. This is just a little update just to see where we are. So at the moment I'm at ring level 44 and I'm in 4th. Personal production wise, I'm actually in 2nd because we've done quite a bit of catching up, but there's plenty of Home and Power in between, although it does seem that the guys in number 1 has switched just to build a fell fort, so I'm sure they can confirm that for us if any of them are watching. As you can see, Toby, which is the fellowship I'm in, are up to 2nd, and Home have really farmed the life out of the server so far. They actually have less members in their team than us, and they are ahead of us, so fair play to them. Just a little commander update. I've got Gandalf up to level 37, Dwalin up to 33, and I've got Isildur now at 29, and I'm working on Aragorn King of Men as well at the moment, just to try to get him leveled up. I will show you in a couple of seconds what we've been doing to get the levels up. So in the main, we have been hitting Hobbit Hunters like there is no tomorrow. They are easy for XP. As you can see, you get a good chunk of XP for each army you kill, and the losses you take are very low. I actually started hitting Hobbit Hunter posts with Isildur when he was level 24, so he managed to get through them pretty well. And we are taking, if I can go down, 200s and effigies with Gandalf, so his losses are pretty good. Again, not the worst tile in the world. His losses were a bit heavier on that one, to be honest. Again, Khaldun, nice army to hit on a 200, and Quirrell also goes down pretty easily. As you see, I've started scouting 200s to make sure I'm hitting the right armies, or at least vaguely good armies. This is the best 200 I've had so far, which was a Maltok, followed by a Sestaro, and it pretty much disintegrated. So that's where we're currently at. My goal for today is to try and get to number 1 in Power, probably starting with this effigy here, I would say. So we are going to scout it with a single hunter, which is always pretty handy. While Theoden walks over there, I'll just show you where I'm at with buildings. So I am currently building Military Academy 6, which would be pretty good. I could do it probably upgrading the market, but I can't do that until the main hall. I'm a long way off the main hall. That'll probably take some time today. Currently trying to get Ranger training up to 3. Horseman stable and the Numenor quarters I'll have to do after we've actually got through the main hall. I've done nothing with Evil Men, mainly because I have come from a good side roleplay player. I don't really have many evil comms. As you see, I'll just scroll down so I can get to them. And this is all the evil comms I have currently. So I'm hopefully trying to get Malfa Sauron soon, which I'm working towards. We've got Grimmer R2, Khaldun R5, Gorbag R2, and Agzok is R0, and I think he will probably stay that way unless something drastic happens. So we'll see what comes up on these armies. They should be easy. Effigies are always easier. Yeah, we'll hit a Usra. Effigies are always easier than... Just take these troops off. Then 200 tiles anyway, because the gear's not as good on them. May just have to speed recall Dwalin potentially. Yeah, will do. Just to get some troops back. Yeah, we'll definitely hit that use for. As you can see, the armour on effigies is not great, to be honest, in comparison to... Where's the 200 tile? It's only a little bit better, but it is ultimately better. See, there's a little bit of gold gear in there that's refined. Not that it was much use, because that was dwarf gear on Malfa Sauron, but there you go. So, I'm just going to speed recall Dwalin. and kill that effigy, I think. I don't normally use Dwalin too much. I normally use Dane, but he is not great for taking tiles early on, so I've currently left Dane out of it. I will be mocking him soon, but I haven't mocked anyone yet. And with Gandalf, with the sort of build that I'm using with him at the moment, I use 2 frontline and 1 archer unit. The only reason why I'm doing this is just because I've got more of a frontline than anything else at the moment. I would argue I'd like to switch that to 2 range units with Gandalf, but at the moment this is what I'm working with. So, and while he walks to the tile here, I will show you the build I use with him. 1:54. So at the moment, Gandalf's wearing a lot of my gear that's for other people. So I normally put my giant hammer on Isildur, and also my hunter's guide will go on Isildur, and I would argue probably the dragon tooth will also go on Isildur. But for the sake of farming early season, I thought it was worthwhile. This is the build I use. I don't really heavily invest in the grey anymore. I don't really see, even PvE, a massive use for it with the way the healing mechanics work. So I tend to stick with Mithrandir first, then go into Convener, and then I'll get the 2 points in Wizard, 1 in Surge. I'll try and get a point in White Council early because it's effect modified by focus, so it's handy for doing that. And then I'll put 2 and 1 in the grey and in Blindside, and then I'll slowly build the grey up a little bit. There is an argument early on that you should max the grey so you can get the most amount of healing, but ultimately if you're killing more troops, you don't have to heal as many. So in theory, with this build, I will kill more, and there's also a lot of damage reduction as well. Next for me, so just have a sip of coffee, is to max Champion of Light. It'll be very useful for the tiles we're taking, because even though it's a non-roleplay server, I'm pretty sure, probably because of where I spawned, I haven't hit a single good side army yet, which is a little bit annoying. So we're going to get rid of a couple more tiles. I'll go through my tile breakdown in a minute. So at the moment I have 36 90s, 51 130s, 49 150s, 3 200s. I'm trying to get 1 of each. I will go for a wood tile shortly, and I'm going to end up with a couple of effigies. I have got Shire Protector Camp. I'll go through those in a minute because I've been using them to sweep a little bit. I've been enjoying them so far. See, Gandalf pretty much cleaned that up nicely, and he's moved up to level 38. So that's good. We'll now hopefully siege this down with Gandalf the White, which is a bit of a waste. But it is what it is. And to be impatient. I would probably argue that there's too many losses there on Gandalf for now, so I will try to make sure that I'm hitting Hobbit camps for a little bit longer. Or probably up the grey. So here we go. So I'm just going to siege this down. I'll add some of those in, and while they are reinforcing, after another sip of coffee, after all it is Bank Holiday Monday, a bit of a day of rest for all concerned. So I'll just show you a report with Shire Protectors and why I like them anyway. So if I go into here, I'll just show you the unit. So a 50% chance of every time they hit gaining 30% damage. That goes up to 50%. So they've already got a really strong base damage anyway of 30 to 34, which is pretty good in comparable to most. I'll just compare it to something like a Cataphracts, for example, if I go into the right screen. So a cataphract is 26 to 35. Appreciate that a cavalier is a little bit higher than that, but as a base damage for a hobbit unit, they're pretty good. Also, the damage range isn't bad. They also then get affected by this if they're on a hobbit or a man, so they get plus 10 attack with this, which is massive, and plus 10 speed. Which again, so you can imagine how well these go with someone like a Theoden. And then they've got the obvious damage reduction, same as every other mounted unit. They've also got pure hearts, so they're unaffected by madness, and they've actually got a 50% chance to cleanse. So for me, they're one of the best units in the game. I very rarely run cavalry, but I'm really excited about using them this season. What I'd really like to work out with them is whether or not you can run a retaliate build. I did have a look in the red book while I was sort of messing around with that while in Bag End, and it looks pretty good as a retaliate build because they get that unexpected threat when they retaliate. Also on someone like a Theoden, it maxes Rohirrim really fast, so if anyone tries to cleanse it, you still get it back within a round for that maximum damage, so it's worthwhile doing. I'll just put my extra point into Gandalf. And I will do what I said, I will put it into Champion of Light. So I'm probably going to run this season, I think I will run Gandalf naturally. I'm going to run Dwellings, I think in a non-roleplay server, I think it's probably a better way to go. I'll run Isildur, even though I don't think he's ideal because he is tied into men and elves because of the last alliance tree. I'm going to try King of Men. He's only R6 though, but I'm going to give him a go. I think he could be quite useful at hunting people like Saurons and people like that. I'm going to try and give Gandalf the White a go. I've never ran Gandalf the White before, so that'll be interesting. And then I'm definitely going to run Theoden, but I will change his gear around a little bit when it comes to using him. Because I think in a non-roleplay server with a couple of the troop units that you've got the choice of, he will be very good. Particularly, like I say, with Shire Protectors. And I'll probably use something like Cataphracts with it, something like that. So I'm just going to continue to siege this down. I haven't used a great deal of stamina today. I was quite conscious that I was going to be streaming and I didn't want to just have to talk with no substance for an hour or so. Just go through that. I hate red dot syndrome. Whenever that red dot comes off, I have to get rid of it. I've had a really good store today as well, but I haven't got the coins to do it, so I've got all those 3 hours and a relocate. I've already picked up one relocate, which I think is probably the most important thing in the token shop for me, because it saves you a lot of gems. But we have to keep making sure we've got the contribution. As far as contribution goes, I've done alright so far, about 4th in contribution for the fellowship. So in a second, I'm hoping that I would close the gap, but it looks like we're still going up here, so I'm guessing we're taking effigies there as well. So I've got a few around me, so that should help me out a little bit. I'll just keep sieging it down for now. So yeah, I was going to show you the mechanics of the report. So there's only a bit of, they don't lose many also because they can't be targeted as long as there's another allied unit there, which is actually really handy. As an expensive unit, for them not to be targeted and the damage output they can do, it's pretty good. So as you can see, they've got the most damage out of all my units there. I would probably expect that because the amount of units that there is. I really like King Aragorn's healing in PvE. There's a couple of points in here just to get the stun or madness damage received, and then a point in here just to get the attack. For men, LSR is such a good healing skill. Then Elven Blessing, also again, great healing skill, effect modified by focus stat. I'm just trying to get a little bit of extra damage. So not too many points so far, but trying to make sure I maximise what I can do. I'll come back to that report in a second to just keep conscious that I'm sieging down this. past. I did. Going into here. So where are we? Here we go. So they've got mounted instantly. Unexpected threat before any damage is dealt. Can trigger. Pure of Heart, which is the Madness Immune, which is great. And this is well travelled, so that's because it's a men or hobbit commander. Obviously Aragon is a man. Their damage range goes up, so they're now, I would say, higher than a cavalier. Making them pretty good. So let's see how it works in battle. So there you go, see, so it's triggered the cure effect, there's nothing to cure, but it's already triggered it. And then Unexpected Threat triggered straight away, plus 30% damage. So 7,500 damage in round 1. And we lost 3 units to counter attack, that's how we managed to get hit. As they can't be targeted. Mark's been taking out some Hobbit Hunters. Again, no curable effects, but it's triggered. The Unexpected Threat damage has continued to affect him, which is nice. So another 163 units dead, so that's the entire unit dead. They suffered 1 physical damage. I'm not really too sure how that's worked when they're all there, but they're all dead. But there you go. And then the hobbits finish them off really. But so it's just really to show you that they're quite an interesting unit that I'm going to go through. See, it still continues to affect them, and they're just taking units out. So they could have done a lot more damage. The Shire Protectors, but I think it's a unit that I'm going to showcase quite a lot this season. I think because I do feel that they will be useful as far as things go. So we're going to take that effigy now. Where are we? Well, chat always an interesting place. Okay, so we got the effigy easy enough as we were going to take the 1,000 gold, and then we're just waiting for tiles to drop again. So while we're waiting for tiles to drop, we'll have a look for a Hobbit Hunters camp. And yeah, I did hire some Hobbit Archers because they are quite useful early game. I wouldn't recommend them going beyond early game, but they obviously do increase damage to tier 3 troops, so useful, if nothing else. So let's get some troops back on Gandalf and get some troops off Aragon. I found with where we spawned, I'll show you the map, I'll try not to show you the pins that we've got. I've spawned around here. I think everyone on the server knows pretty much at this point that we're trying to take this as our capital. Home and a few others have spawned around the Eisen area. So I'm presuming they will be trying to take Orthanc. All this area down here is empty. But I think there's a couple of smaller fellowships and some bits and bobs around here. But the main fight seems to be probably between the two of us. But with where I spawned, definitely struggling for ore, which is a little bit weird. Not used to that, spawning normally in the Dwarven lands. Normally there's an abundance of ore. So we'll click Gandalf and get him, unfortunately for him, killing some hobbits, I suppose. Be about to respawn by now. 33 minutes, not quite. I've got all the Hobbit camps. I've got all the Hobbit camps pinned that are around me. I think I own this one. Yeah, mean, arguably I could drop that with not currently recruiting him. I've also got all the ruins pinned around me as well. There is another hobbit camp somewhere up here, I think. Just got to find the right pin. Maybe I didn't pin that one. Sure, it's around here somewhere. I've also pinned the ruins that are on the edge of my range just so I can, when I'm not being lazy, take those. When's this one done? 25 minutes. Gandalf's a 17-minute march, so 7 minutes time I'll have to try and remind myself to go there and take that. I'm trying to stay tile capped when I hit the hobbit camp so I don't actually take the camp at any stage, otherwise I have to wait for it to drop. But yeah, we've got 16 minutes on the tiles that we're dropping, and then we'll probably try and take another 200 or maybe an effigy again. I don't really want to take too many effigies, partly because you get, yes, okay, you're getting power for them, which is pretty handy when I'm trying to get to ring level 50 for unlocking dominance again. But realistically, I just prefer to take resources early game, which you don't get from an effigy. Gold looks like it's going to be a bit of a problem this season. I sold a lot of blue gear, which got me a good start on that, but generally we're starting on a Friday. There was no Heroes weekend, Heart of Hero this weekend, so gold for everyone's probably a little bit of a struggle. Just while we got a bit of a run at lull, I'll run through some of the other commands I have. So I've got an R25 Eowyn that I'm still trying to find a use for. I would say the only thing really I found a vaguely useful for so far was Sunnind a little bit, which was quite impressive with her unique, particularly max refined. There is a big stop to Sunnind's main skills, so I would argue that testing it long term she could be quite a good Sunnind counter. Normally I will be running Dane. I will be running him later in the season. He's just a terrible tiler. I have got his unique. I know I've mentioned it before in other videos. I think it's a fantastic unique. I will try and get that to probably 2 refined. I think it's probably his sweet spot, because then it's a bit like double rise up in previous seasons. I just don't seem to get any dwarf gear anymore. I've been waiting on one Hammer of Moria to complete it for a pretty long time. You just don't seem to get it anymore. That's the build that I'll run with Dane. So just to sort of go into it, I will fill out Jorin's Blood. First, I'll go straight into All In as my first skill point, because the skill order matters with Dane. I'll then put some points into Ironfoot and Heavily Wounded. Then I'll go into King Under the Mountain, and I will go into Dwarven Grit and Whirlwind. But Whirlwind, I am toying between the two of Ironfoot or Whirlwind at the moment. Whirlwind's great if people have actually got 2 enemy targets to hit. Other than that, I do think Ironfoot's the better skill, because you do get the rush ability, so early damage is pretty key. But with the points I've got, I will get 5 points into Vengeance. I'll get 10 into Ironfoot roughly. I will leave that as 1. Jorin's Blood will be maxed. Whirlwind will be maxed. All In will be maxed. King Under the Mountain will be maxed. Arguably, I'll probably have 2-3 points in Longbeard, either that or I can go another 2 and 1 in those 2. And I'll max Dwarven Grit, because I think it's probably the most important part of most Dane builds. That early damage just absolutely wrecks other commanders. So that's where we'll be sitting with that. I'd quite like to run Faramir this season. I think I will be breaking down in the next few days, once Gandalf's leveled up a little bit, this Elven Cloak. And I will be going for Faramir's unique, and probably running Faramir with hopefully some War Drummers. But I do need to do some more bits and bobs for his unique item, so I've only actually done one of the tasks so far because I've been pretty lazy, so I need him to beat some evil men units, which is actually going to be harder than I think around here, so I might have to wait a while. And that'll be a nice easy one, running in with some Dunedin, as I've already got Rangers. But I do think with his unique, I'm looking forward to trying that out. I don't run Gil anymore. I do think he's not in the meta anymore. I know it's a bit of a waste on R14 Gil. Hopefully at some stage they will get a respect refund system, and I'll probably drop Gil to R5. I know he's a useful tiler, but I just think now in PvP he just gets trashed. And I haven't really tried some of the others. Elrond looks quite interesting these days, so I'll probably try Elrond at some point. If I was anywhere near Oathbreakers, I'd probably try and run King of the Dead, because I haven't run him for a few seasons either. But it's really hard to actually run more than 4 or 5 commanders in a season anyway. But that's just it's personal preference at the end of the day. I know some people will turn around and say Dwalin's a better commander than Dane, as Dwalin beats Dane because of the speed element. But realistically, I think against 90% of opponents, personally, I found Dane better. But I will say Dwalin is more versatile. So it is what it is, each to their own. So where were we with that camp? And I forgot to mark it, didn't I? Let's mark that camp. Maximum pinned locations reached. Someone's probably taken these 150s by now. No, they haven't. Let's see if I can get rid of one of the others. There's a little bank of tiles over here that's, it's now gone. So that's fine. Get rid of that. Come back over here. Little pin there for the tower. Apologies. Let's pin that. 19 minutes. I can't remember what Gandalf's march was. 17. So in a couple of minutes' time, we'll send Gandalf for that, and we'll take the XP gains. Like I say, he is level 38 already. I will start mock battling at some point today on these 200 tiles. I might even try and get a 230 at some point today, maybe. Depending on how I'm looking for troops. But at the moment, I'm just trying to get as much power as I can just to stay up here and try and sort of get to number 1 maybe, which is my goal for today. There is lots of home fellowship in here, I'm pretty sure, all barring that guy there who is in power, I think. Yeah, pretty much all are home. They farm well, to be fair to them. And they look like they've all got some good Gandalf the Whites. There's HJW, he was 3rd for quite a period of time, and I think he'll probably go back up again today. But yeah, that's sort of the top 25, 30. Go down to 50. And that's the Fellowship production rankings again. We will be teamed with SDCC and X-Hub, and we'll be against, I suspect, Home, Power and Drum. Drum, I believe, are having some problems with getting members across. I don't know how many they've got in there now. They've only got 68, so I presume they've still got members that have spawned outside of the area. With the way the mechanics of Season 6 works, it's a bit annoying. Hopefully in a second we'll have some more ore, and I will probably train some troops. I'll probably get some more spearmen in. I could do that already though, really. And I'll hire some more marksmen. Should still have enough resources to build when I need to. I might speed up a building or so, really. I feel like that military academy would be quite useful. And I can already do the barracks, so I don't like to speed anything up if I can't actually do anything that's useful. I'm looking forward to trying out Swan Knights this season. I haven't tried them out since my season 2, which was probably about a year ago now. And I didn't really know how to use them at the time. I think from memory I pretty much just stacked them on Theoden and presumed they do really well. Which, as we all know, isn't really how Swan Knights work. So play around with that. That's the gathering done. Faramir is doing well on the gathering today. Should probably use Yusra really for the extra 3%, but I haven't done that yet. I keep forgetting that I've got these evil people to walk around with. We're nearly down to another tile, so I'm pretty sure now we should be able to hit this Hobbit Hunter post with Gandalf. 15 minutes, yeah, there we go. So he'll take that with very few losses, which is really handy. If I can, I'll try and get another army out to this one over here as well, probably with Isildur. 22 minutes, what's Isildur's march time? 21 minutes. Okay, if I can build another army out, I'll send Isildur out there. Partly because he's full on stamina, I'm just wasting stamina if I don't do anything with him. Just switch those up to tower guards. And make sure I've got some elves in there to trigger the last alliance. It'll wipe that Hobbit camp really easily like that. So, what was that march time? 22 minutes. And his march time is 23 minutes, so we can already send it. Happy days. Off he goes. These are long marches, and this is why I've still got quite a lot of stamina today, but I may have a bit of a problem here though. But I think these tiles are going to drop before I get there, and I don't think I've got enough of an army left to give the Dwarling to take anything, so yeah, I might actually take these Hobbit camps, so I'll probably just have to take some 1 tiles just to get around that. I don't really want to take the Hobbit camps if I can, otherwise you have to wait for protection to drop. Yeah, he would take both of them, so I will take some 1 tiles shortly, unless I can get an army together for someone else who can give me a little bit of resources for now. See if I can build anything up with Dwelling. I really don't think I'll have enough troops though, no. Which is a bit of a shame, so I'll just have to take a 1 tile while I wait. Gear wise, I've got some spare gear now, so I'll just run through what it's all. I did have Gimli. I've got a really high respect Gimli that I don't use. I did have Gimli's unique 2 refined and also 5-star gold, but I broke it down at the start of this season, so I've still got the. I'm just trying to work out what to do with the worn out weapons that I've got left over. I don't remember what I did with them actually. Oh, that was it. I made the Axe Khazad-dûm with Cleave, so that will go on to Dwalin when I go into PvP. I have got a white knife if I ever run Gil again with Might of Elves. I picked this up in Bag End as well, the Black Mace, which I thought was pretty cool. I was contemplating trying to give it to Gandalf potentially if I run a Reaper's build. But I haven't quite worked out what I'm going to do with Gandalf yet. I think I probably will run him with some kind of evil build just for fun, because I've not done that before. I've got the wrong Hauberk now. I did have the High Elf Hauberk with Fortitude of Elves, but I broke it down for some other gear when I sort of stopped using Gil. I really would like Ered Luin formation on this, because I think it's a better skill. It's obviously plus, I'll show you in here. So if we just max this out. So Might of Dwarfs gives plus 12 damage dealt, which is great obviously, but in the same way Ered Luin formation is better, because I don't know why they're both on the same piece of kit actually, but there you go. So it's plus 12%. Also it's affected by might, so it's just a slightly better skill. Potentially if I run into a lot of evil men builds, that's always a good one to have. That is in my Erebor's Prime. I don't like Iron Guard. I've tried using it a few times. I don't really see the point in bringing back 12 Guardians around. I just think it's a bit pointless. With winning the last 2 seasons, I do have 2 Dragon Tooths. I've tried to build 2. I'll probably max that out at some stage. Don't really need to yet. But the one with tactical marks, brilliant, because I've now got pursuit, so it's really handy. That'll go on Isildur when I start running him properly. And this one with the whole 3% to enemy melee increase. I mean, happy days. They die 3% faster. And at some point, I'm quite excited to try this out at some stage as well. I've got 3 or 4 Marius Reigns now, but they're tied up in other pieces, which I can now get back thanks to the gear update, where the Elven Hammer can now break gear down. I'd really like to try this with Theoden because he would be stunned and madness immune, and then I can run a different helmet than the Horseman's Helm with Resolve, which I think just gives you a few more options with him. You could probably get a melee vigor helmet or something like that, which I think would probably work well. I have got a Hunter's Guide of Aegis. I do need to refine it more. I just never get Hunter's Guides. And I quite like the Swan Helm with arrow suppression as Sunin's gone more into the meta. I think arrow suppression is going to come to its own. I don't have a Dwarf helmet. I think the Iron Bassinet with arrow suppression is actually really good as well. This is what Isildur currently has with range might. Dwalin's using this, and this is purely for PvE because he is troop buffing currently, and it's mainly melee that I'm using with him, so it's pretty handy. I think there is a massive difference between PvE builds and PvP builds, particularly for gear, and you're better off sticking with it until you start fighting people. You get so many benefits. Cutlass is one of my favourite weapons. They've all got melee might. I've got a Smite Carver and a Men Carver. That's because sometimes I run Gandalf with an all men build. So that's why that one's like that. I kept this to the side, this Cutlass with overconfidence, because in case I start using pirates, I think that's actually really good. I think it goes up to +6 attack and -6 HP, but with something like maybe a Swan Knight, they could be really useful with that. I've got loads of scale mails as well with melee vigor mainly. One with Gallant, but again I'd probably prefer that to have melee vigor. Got my Dwarf Siege drums. A full Superior Hauberk maxed out. I've nearly got a second one for fire protection. Pretty important piece of kit. I do like a coated with focus protection in case you're running into people like Galadriel and Sauron if he's in that build. Where's my siege hiflane? So I'd normally run this as a full siege hiflane, as it's the only thing really that can add to Hergon's siege. A couple of sustain pipes. One of my favourite helmets, so this is finally fully refined. I'd be interested, I daren't do it though in case it actually works out better, to put this on Dane and see how he got on with the HP buff. But I daren't do it in case I like it more than the unique, and it'll make me cry. I've got a couple of full helms in melee vigor, an Arnocast with Storm Immunity. I have got Dwalin's axes. I don't really rate them, but I suppose they're quite good for PvE early on, for troop buffing, to be fair. I used to have Haldir's outfit actually maxed, I think, at one stage, but when they did the sort of debuff on him and made this so it wasn't just initiative in general, and it sort of all came down to Woodlands, I stopped using it because I just think it's just a pointless nerf. It wasn't like he was amazing anyway. And I do like a Blazing Tongue. I really like it on Gandalf, partly because it looks cool. With Scorch, ideally, partly because the Scorch then procs the grey, and it's modified by focus. So I might build that back up. Yeah, that's what I might toy around with these 15 gold weapons that I've got here. Where was I going through this gear? I don't know what I'm going to do with the Mirkwood Forms. I did feel at some stage that I was going to find a use for it, but I haven't thought about that yet. These will probably all be fodder, apart from this, which I'm still waiting on another Durin's plate to refine the one that I've got. Same as the Erebor's Pride, I just need one more. There's a couple more of these mixed into another item, I think. Same as these, so I'm waiting on the cask with Determination to be refined. I think that'd be a good piece for someone like a Gimli or a Dwalin, just so they are madness immune. Again, arguably Dane, but I'm not going to use it on Dane with having the unique, and I've just got a few little bits and bobs left over. I used this last season with this on, I think I used it on, what did I use it on? I used it on Dwalin, I think, early season, because I was running Dwarves early season with us being in Erebor last season. And I think it's really important that when you're setting up a commander for PvE at the start of the season, you max the benefits of the gear, not necessarily what you would think of using on them. So, example, I started last season with Gandalf with full dwarf gear because I was running T1 dwarfs, and I actually put Mitre dwarfs on as well. I got some really good results with him, but you just wouldn't really think of running him like that. But I just think it's important when you're looking into how you run commanders that you do, particularly for PvP early, you just maximise the benefits that you get. So purple gear in general works better than gold because it sort of becomes 100% on your commander faster, and you get the maximum benefits. But I suppose there are some gold pieces that are good. That's my leftover gear. I have got Wizard's Fire with Hunter's Mark, which will appear on someone. I'm trying to build a second one at the moment. I just need one more firework. And that's all my leftover bits, really. Nothing else there at the moment. And I think I'm going to make Faramir's unique soon, like I say. So should be good. So that's where I'm at the moment. I'll just show you that Gimli, actually, that I don't use anymore. So yeah, he's a Respect 17 Gimli. I would like to run him with my full gold dwarf gear, but I find it hard with having Dane now. So Gimli doesn't really get a look in, but I do think his unique is probably the best TT unique item in the game. For me, all this here about where the might reaches and you're getting plus damage is brilliant, and you also gain pursuit. He's an absolute monster at killing Gil-galad and people like that. When set loose. Not sure what I think of Bjorn yet. Not really a massive fan of Bjorn so far, I'll be honest. I think he's okay, but I don't necessarily think he's I've seen results where he's looked very good, and I've also seen results where he's looked very bad, so I wouldn't like to put too much into him at this stage. I'm just going to take a few tiles, if I got anyone with troops. Why not? We'll give Dane a run out. He's 240 tower guards, just so that I don't take this tile over here, and I'll start dropping him again. It's a bit wasteful, that, really, but they'll drop in half an hour, so all good. Actually, I tell you what I'll do. I will let Isildur take that one, and I will drop my other one, because then I can at least move forward in power. And then I've got another one to do. In fact, maybe I'll I'll let Isildur take his, I think. Dane walks so slow. I think the problem with this stage is once you've got past the first day, everything's so slow moving. But hopefully we'll take another 200 tile before we finish the stream. I feel like I've introduced pretty much everyone here now who I use on the roster. I might as well up this. Might as well use the points to have them. just you're losing tower guards on 1 tiles. I mean, come on, Dane. Then we'll drop those 2 tiles in a minute. Still lost 4 more tower guards. Jesus. Wasteful. All dead as well. Cheers, Dane. Let's conscript some more tower guards. I'd quite like some tier 3 elves, but it just seems... I've not played Season 6 before, like I say, but it just seems really hard work trying to get your military embassy up. It's pretty expensive. And I don't know if that would allow me to have tier 3s anyway, because I've not played it before, so... It doesn't say, so I don't know. Maybe it's not worth doing. Ring 45. We're trying to go into, like I said, we was mocking soon. I'll probably reset my ring later on and take some points out of here and put it in there so I get the full XP gain. But for now, I'm still gathering with my ability points. And just remember as well, as a quick note on the ring, it makes the same for every single season. Always make sure you max out dominance and that you max out enormous power, because they do regenerate, and it is a massive benefit to have that going. So in a second, Gandalf will take this. Unfortunately, I will have to release it at some stage, because like I say, we are all farming them at the moment for XP. I will then drop these 2 tiles and look at taking a 200 at some stage, probably after having a quick break, I think. Shy Protectors, another 31 minutes. I'm going to probably try and train on these as well at some stage. Quite lucky that I've spawned near so many neutral camps, so Shire Protectors were hard work to take, but I'm not sure how strong these were from previous seasons whenever I've seen them. I mean, they look like they've got some okay skills, but I'll probably give them a go at trying to use them to gain some more XP. And I'll definitely be taking one of these, because I will love to use these again on Gandalf, because they were fantastic with the healing ability. So they deal focus damage, which is ideal because it avoids armor. They do. The only issue that I will have is running against evil commanders who are running burn damage, but other than that, really good. And then regrowth, so they actually heal more, so it's kind of, I don't know, it swings and roundabout effect with nature's will and regrowth. But yeah, they'll be really good. So let's see what Gandalf actually lost. So doing that, Gandalf lost 1, 14, 18, literally hardly anything on the second army as well. So it's so good for XP farming. Like I say, he's hardly loses anything on one of the armies at least. We'll be continuing to do that for a while. Definitely taking effigies. So where are you? Up here, aren't you, Gandalf? I think there's an effigy up here somewhere. So what I might do is I might just fill Gandalf up and take the effigy that's around here. I'm pretty sure there's one around here. Yeah, there we go. So I'll probably just try and take this, but I need to be able to move someone up here to be able to. Who's going to be able to siege? I have to move 2 comms to siege. Okay. At this stage, without having too many evil comms, siege is a bit of a pain, so... Can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm going to siege with Dane. I'm going to put some elves in there as well, because I might give him a siege lane just to try and maximise what siege I can get. I'm going to power by it here. Really, I've been lazy. I should have upped a couple other people's levels so that I didn't have to do this. Got too many level 5s. So let's do what I can. Can make 2. Use the siege lane, and now just put someone else up here with. Where have I just missed that? Sorry. So put Haldir up here, and we'll go for one more because I think I'm going to need it. Even though I've got an hour to do it, I'll just put Eowyn up there with some spearmen and some tower guards. Come up here. So between the 3 of them, I'll send Ergon as well for good measure. Why not? So between all those, they should be able to take this after I've hit it. So are we looking for troop queues? So we've got 4 out of 5 running. I do like on this season how you get more troop queues, which have been pretty handy. Build some more ranges. I don't normally like too much, but with Isildur they're pretty good. As you can see, barracks is pretty healthy at the minute, and that's mainly due to the hobbit farming that I'm doing. I can drop those 1 tiles as well. So I'm probably going to leave it there for now. Like I say, I'll be back in a little while. Hopefully trying to make it to number 1 in the rankings. But for now, I'll probably come back just in half an hour's time so I can actually take that effigy, because I've just nearly tried to take it without having a tile free, which would have been pretty stupid, but I know I got an hour to do it, so I'm just waiting for these guys to walk up. So if you have watched all the way through, great, thanks. If you've sort of tuned in for a little bit, happy days. As always, remember, if in doubt,